on your learning journey from computers to Knowledge Garden and in between futures. So I talked a lot about you, and I hope I can find him. And it looks like Sam is already on deck. He's not an early bird, I think so. Sam, are you sleeping?
He's probably out making his coffee.
Yeah, I can bring him some coffee. So how did you meet Jerry? That was also an interesting journey. I always had your name, couldn't connect it.
He showed up at Doug Engelbart's house one day. That was the first meeting.
Hmm.
And then later, I went into one of his um, real-time Delphis about education,
Hmm.
and I just ripped. I just said the education system sucks, and I got nervous about it, so I emailed him and I said. I suppose I should apologize, but I just ripped into education. And he wrote right back and said, "Would you like to go to Korea and talk about it?" And I said, "Sure." So I was working at SRI at the time. So the what I did is I folded into my talk a discussion of Kurt Carlson's book, Innovation. And so that was promoting the company and and so forth. So yes, I that's when we really got together was then.
So education connects us, our mindsets,
Well,
how we model and
it's
how we pick up.
so it was the HR convention in 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 uh, in Seoul, and Bill Clinton was supposed to keynote it, but he asked too much money, so they just made a videotape of him, and his keynote was a videotape. Um, well, and you have to realize that for him to fly to Korea and bring all of his entourage and the Secret Service and stuff was not cheap.
What
But
year
for
was
him,
it?
hmm,
What year was it?
2007.
Uh, we tried 1998, and also there, his how do you say, his prize were stellar, impossible for us, even on a very high level.
Well, if he was a president at the time, then he had to bring his Secret Service detail and all the rest of it, and they're not going to come for free.
No, but he was not president anymore, and still,
Oh, in 2009, no, but he still has a Secret Service detail.
yeah,
Our presidents keep a Secret Service detail for life.
yes, it's like this with Clutch.
Right. So, um, but we we got started fairly well in Korea, and then he started far more communication with me, and ended up setting up. I told him about my AI project and how it would fit,
Hmm.
and so he got me funding for to build a platform. And then I flew back to Korea to train the AI, train the Millennium Project node there. And
Hmm.
then I flew to Penang, Malaysia. And then I flew to Kuwait City. And
Oh, yeah.
that was a real adventure.
Hmm. It was quite early after the invasion.
That's the point. And you're driving along the roads and you're still seeing the bombed out buildings. And if you watch the 6 o'clock news here in the colonies, you saw all of this happening.
Yeah.
And now you're driving right through the middle of it. And they had converted the emperor's palace into the emir's palace into an office complex, and that's where
Mm.
we did our work. It was amazing.
That's appropriate.
It was that was an insane adventure. We actually had dinner on an old pirate sailboat, a ship
Hmm.
that was dry docked. It was up on land, but one of the gifts they gave you was one of the spikes that was that it looked like a railroad spike, but it's what they would drive through the wood to hold the planks on.
Hmm. Interesting. So both are not coming,
Who's not coming?
coming late.
Who's coming late?
The Sam guy, the coffee maker.
Hey, I've been here since the starting time. I'm just listening to you guys.
Well, we are early birds. What is the starting time? Oh, yes, it's now. Sorry. Some people are early, catching the warm, and you are in time.
Well, it's 8 o'clock. It's 8:08 right now. So Sam just now turned his microphone on. So as I said, he was probably out making his coffee.
I was actually out dealing with the dogs. I have not yet made coffee because I have tea this morning.
Perfect.
Oh, tea. Somebody's trying to go dry, huh?
No, actually, I have both. I just allow myself 2 cups of coffee maximum per day, and then I switch
Got
to
it.
pu'er tea.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So pu'er tea is my favorite. All right. So, Heiner,
Well, I was sending you a message that maybe Jörg visits us for 10, 15 minutes and
today?
really beginning of our session. And I already told Jack, but he's not here yet, so we probably have to do it another time.
What was your intent when you invited Joerg today?
No, Jörg Altekruse.
Yeah,
He's
I
so
know.
much into wind and energy and education and in so many issues um, with Jack, and he knows also me and Millennium Project. And I just talked to him this morning, and he said, "Well, I have maybe 20 minutes." And as I think he's someone you have also come across already in the
Yeah,
years
he and I
before.
and you have been in Zoom sessions before, I
Yes,
recall.
sure.
And how was your Samstag yesterday?
Oh, busy. I tried to come, but Saturday late afternoons, it's very difficult for me. It's not like a nice breakfast appointment, which you can easily schedule before breakfast. But Saturday, Sunday at 5, 6 my time, it's very difficult. And we have so many things. So half of Berlin is without electricity,
Really?
and the Germans are not used to that. And so it's really a big topic. Look in the news. I think it should be also international news already, because it is really a total blackout for a large portion of Berlin.
I just woke up, so I haven't checked the news. What's the
Well, it's
power
since
problem?
yesterday morning. Well, it was an attack, and there is a letter who confessed, but most of us don't believe the confession. So we are talking here about wargaming and Einschüchterung, making people afraid. And it's the full political game of all this cuts going through our society, maybe like yours in America, but we have much more fragments. So it's not so easily East and West and black and white. It is really in Europe a very splitted landscape.
Hmm. Yeah, so it says 45 to 50,000 households, about 2,000 businesses, in Lichterfelde, Zehlendorf, Wannsee, and Nikolassee.
Yes, it's very few people living there, but large area with lots of industry.
Deliberate arson, politically motivated attack. Oh, and
Well,
they
they
say a
know it,
far
they know
left
it
group.
already.
Was it far left or far right? Which one?
They claimed there was a far left group that reportedly claimed responsibility, although this is still being verified.
No,
Yeah,
I think it's silly.
That's got to be a false flag, right?
Yes.
They can easily blame somebody else.
Well, and if you write such a letter, you give a motivation, and that is not part of this arson message.
The outage is also disrupting S-Bahn and
Mm.
regional trains.
Mm.
Tens of thousands remain without electricity.
Yes, and it's cold.
Okay, so you were not affected then, right? Your particular
I'm
house?
in the West, and we're speaking about the South.
Yeah.
Some part
This
of Southwest,
this is Southwest Berlin. Yeah.
yeah, no, South. It's also some parts of uh, East, Southeast. It is clear since our first reporting a couple of years ago that there were some groups trying to identify neuralgic places where you can make with a few little explosions a lot of wide area damage.
Sorry. Phone call that came in. They hung up. I'm sorry to hear about this. No, my standard social media feeds don't give me any of this information. I'm checking for false flag up a possibility.
The headlines
Vulkangruppe. Sorry.
the headlines are saying 2026 is the year humanity will finally go back to the moon. I'm going to bet that the Chinese haul off and ape it.
And do what?
Ape it.
What does that
The
mean?
Chinese will fire their rocket long before we're ready.
Oh, we're not even actively trying to go back to the moon right now, are we? The US?
No, the headlines on space.com says 2026 is the year humanity will go back to the moon. Doesn't say they're going to land.
It won't be the US though.
They're just going to go orbit the moon as the pre-teaser.
Well,
But
I thought that India and China and others had already been sending rockets up to the moon, right? So it
but
was
not
done.
manned, not manned.
That was the implication. Okay.
So the point is that the Chinese will haul off and land somebody on the moon next year or the year after, because I think 2028 is supposed to be the year we're going to land on the moon with the humans.
I suspect they could do it already. I mean, they already have all the technology we
That's
used,
the
the US
point.
used, right?
That is
And
exactly the point.
they're all ready to go. Yeah. And they're not
Oh,
slowing down.
this
They're not
our
slowing down for anything.
Joerg.
Ah, Willkommen, Joerg. You have your mute on.
You're still muted.
Hello.
Good to see you again, Joerg.
Yeah. So Heiner invited me to just say hello to your meeting. I'm busy right now in my office, so I was just interested in what you were discussing and how I can eventually contribute.
Have you already met Jack?
No.
You've not yet met Jack
No,
before? Heiner, have you
no.
done introductions prior to this?
I was sending the LinkedIn profile and we talked this morning. So I common things from education to wind turbines and environment. No, I just want to be sure, due to your limited time, that you get in touch with Jack.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just say one sentence about both things. So I'm connected with Heiner for many years now with Youth for Planet because this is a digital platform for education, and not only digital but practical on the ground. And the second thing is that I'm very much working in the field of energy, not only solar, but wind as well, and energy education and learning with Youth for Planet and a device, a company that is called Sunvolution. which is going into Africa and India to train people to empower their communities with solar installations and so forth. So that's basically what I'm up to at the moment. From my background, I'm a filmmaker, so I'm rather somebody with a bird's view and overview. But for now, I have changed my portfolio by saying I want to train young people by making their own films and finding their own perspective, using their smartphones to develop a new perspective and a new idea of what life could be like. And this is what we are doing. And I've been in at many COPs just recently in Brazil. Um, and there we announced an initiative, a call for young people to contribute their art work, composition, film, and paintings, for example, to give an answer to the question, what does peace mean for you? Could be peace with Earth, could be peace among people. And this question will be, we are asking to actually help people to understand this question, and the outcome will be presented at the World Economic Forum in Davos first, and then at a concert in Rome on the 6th of June in front of the Peters Dome. So that's the scope of work that I'm doing right now, and I can only offer to connect when this really makes sense for any of you. So this is what I'm really excited about, and I love to collaborate with other people to make things happen. So I'm working in Europe, Africa. Luxembourg is my main hub, and Hamburg in Germany, but India and Africa as well. So that's Nigeria mainly, and Uganda, Kenya. Yeah. So that's for now what I can contribute. Thank you for listening.
Well, there are parallels. I a bazillion years ago, I married a woman who wanted to live on a farm, and I did undergraduate work in aeronautical engineering, so I started designing windmills, and ended up being the president of the American Wind Energy Association in its founding years. They don't even remember me now. There's no record of me, but I was in 1982. And my last event with them, I had to leave the event early and fly to Africa because I was supposed to go to Mali and help design a windmill for Mali.
Okay.
And I discovered a professor at the local university who was doing just that, windmill design. So I gave a lecture on wind energy design in French, but my French was terrible. So you speak loud and they laugh, and I then installed in a village out on the Niger River. I installed a wind energy sensor that the Peace Corps developed. The Peace Corps volunteer would send me the data, but he handed over the job of reading the reading the data to the village elder, who was not literate, and And so I didn't get any good data from them. But I eventually migrated to building a passive solar home for the ranch, and ended up teaching courses in wind and solar energy at a college of architecture in Santa Monica. And what I was doing was building microprocessor-based weather stations to site windmills. And the farmers came to me and said, well, that's a lot of data. What could we do with it? And it turned out that they needed it for fruit frost prediction and irrigation
Yeah.
planning. And ultimately, the prediction of a particular grape, these were the almonds and the grape growers were my customers. So they bought a whole field of my instruments. And powdery mildew is an issue with grapes, and you can predict it by moisture and temperature and that sort of thing. So I managed to get a hold of a basic language program that did powdery mildew prediction, and I transliterated it to Forth, which was the language my weather stations were programmed in. And then they came to me and they said, "What are we going to do with all this data?" And right then I had discovered something called artificial intelligence. So I built an expert system that for reading their data, and that ultimately, in the long run, landed me a job at SRI International, which is their AI lab that was started by Douglas Engelbart.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's where I met Jerry and ended up becoming involved with the Millennium Project, and did a lecture in Seoul on the future of education. So it's all blossomed from there. I'm going to put a link in the chat. Joerg, can you see the chat room?
Let me just switch here. I think I should be able to. I'm on my phone, so I'm
Oh,
a little. Uh, okay.
well,
Yeah. I see the chat now. Yeah, and I can copy it then.
let's see if I spelled that right, since craft.garden. Yeah, that's a project that grew up out of basically my work with Millennium Project and with uh, with some of my PhD research. It had to do with uh, how do you um, have civil conversations about politics online? And my answer to that question was World of Warcraft meets global sense making.
Yeah.
And so what we did is we are building, it's still a prototype, it's an engineering prototype, that is basically a role-playing game where you go and join a guild, and that guild then goes on these quests, just like you do in World of Warcraft, except the difference is you're not charging or riding on horseback and carrying spears or whatever. You're actually planning your best answers, responses to some epic quest, such as, for example, what are the known causes of climate change, so forth. And so your guild has to first respond to the quest. And then in later iterations, you're now responding and building on the game moves that other guilds have made, saying, "Oh yeah, we can amplify that. Here's some literature we found that substantiates that sort of thing." And so rather than a scoring mechanism that rewards killing the most orcs and moving the most dirt, our scoring mechanism is how well you collaborated with other guilds
Yeah,
to co-create the best answers. And
absolutely.
and
Yeah.
and so in other words, it's not competition. It's a kind of co-opetition. Yes, you're trying to get high on the leaderboard, but it's best the guild that's highest on the leaderboard is the one that's the most collaborative.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is, I was just saying what you are developing there is exactly along my lines. You know, the collaboration, that's a secret superpower of humans. And
It is.
and I think to build on that and allow for it to happen and make people happy being part of that is a winning game, really. No? And except for those people who want to sell you pills to be happy without doing anything. No.
So our project is totally open source. We did that knowing that there is still a financial model. There is a sound financial model for it, but we want it in schools and libraries. And schools and libraries that don't have budgets,
Yeah.
they just download it from GitHub and install it, and maybe the county will come and pay us to train them on how to use it and blah blah blah. But that's a different story.
So you never made it into a business, but kept it open
Well,
source.
it's it's open source. However, we are going to form. This is a huge picture. You and I need to talk in detail at some point. But what we want is we want a paying business where people actually join outside of schools. They join these guilds and they pay, say, $5 a month or whatever. And that's their it's not free. It's not like Facebook. We don't sell your information. We only sell the product to you. Um, but what you do is we want to establish a federation of these, what we call K hubs, that do game-based sense making. And our game is only a piece of it. I don't know if you've heard of Polis,
No.
POL.is. It was invented for the Taiwanese to figure out how to make their democracy work. It's another game-based collaborative project. So you have these epistemic communities, these knowledge working communities. It's a social network of a new kind. It's not where you go to talk about whose boyfriend is whatever and which restaurant to go to. It's instead it's where you go to help solve global problems.
Yeah.
And in our case, it's where you learn how to become a civil human being. Because a
Yeah.
lot of people are not going to naturally want to collaborate. They want their own way. They want their own ideas. But
This is
when
how we
you're
are being trained in schools. I mean, the competition,
exactly,
but it's not natural.
it is not
Collaboration is
natural.
the key. Yeah.
Yeah, in schools, you are graded on a curve, and if you aren't high on the curve, you don't. So you have to compete with your friends, and that's just not right. So we're trying to build a place where, and I've had school teachers say, "How quickly can we have this?" Because it's a new way to let the kids do their studies in little groups,
Yeah.
and so. But we have these communities now. What happens when you have our servers all over the planet? Obviously, there's countries that won't allow it, but in where we do allow it, it's going to improve things. What do you do with that? Well, they join what's called a federation. And a federation takes all of their game moves, everything that they do, and brings it into a digital public library, which is a place where we organize it into topic maps, and we do all kinds of other things with it, and we make it available to the public. And it's where you go to get things that are not tainted with fake news or with advertising pressure or any of that kind of thing. It's trustworthy. We don't claim it's true. That's for you to decide.
Mm.
But it's the best our research platforms and our K hubs could offer you.
Yeah.
That's what we're working on.
And it's happening right now. So it's hot, so to speak.
I yeah, we don't have to say much on we're being recorded, but we don't have
Yeah.
to say
Yeah. Yeah.
very
We
much.
should go into detail there.
We
I
won't
agree.
go
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
detail, but the fact is, yes, I am just wishing that we could move faster on our progress and include more people and more projects into our K hubs or into, in other words, we're trying to build a federation of people that are trying to solve global problems.
But actually, when I listen to you, what comes to my mind would be to set up a scheme where you actually bring up certain issues, certain challenges, problems that people then join, like a hackathon, uh, to resolve it. And then eventually the outcome will be put out into the open and make people happy. And when you combine this with AI connectivity so that people have easier access to it, then this would be actually wonderful to have. And I tell you one thing that what I totally get the point, and actually there is a lot more to say about it from my perspective. So we have trained young Indian engineers to collaborate in teams of 5 and join a challenge, a communication challenge, where they had to create artwork, film, and a meaningful communication with people out in the street about a topic from the SDGs. And this worked out very well. So they had a 6 to 8 weeks of time And the most successful had micro donations in the range of 3,000 people, actually giving them attention by saying, okay, you get 10 rupees from my phone. So, and the other team was so successful that they eventually had a proven contact with 5,000 people. They played their content out to and discussed it with them. So, and all within 5 to 6 weeks, because in the first place, they had to build a media bike that allowed them to be out in the street and discuss things and showcase something that they had pre-produced on the bike via a monitor. So all this was a real big challenge for all of them, but we couldn't imagine how well they really played this out, and uh, they managed collaboration in a very economic way by sharing their ideas with the other teams, by saying, okay, we are solar engineers, we know how to create electronics for a solar panel in order to produce electricity for a battery. So we help you with that, and you can put it on your bikes, and then then you save time. That's what they did. So eventually, all the teams had solar installations and electricity on board, and so could move pretty far with their bikes. I put you an example of these bikes into the chat. This is we took one of the bikes to Dubai to the climate conference in order to showcase it there, and now we are at the stage of scaling this up so that these bikes, and I'm coming back to your hubs, the K hubs. The bikes are basically small interactive hubs anywhere in the world, in any kind of community, with or without electricity or connectivity, because they connect themselves, like a swarm. And we're at the moment in this phase of thinking how to come from, let's say, we have 30 bikes out now, and scale it up to 10,000 this year, because people, like you see in this video, want to have it in India and in Africa as mobile schools. So now it's a question, how do we pre-finance it, and how do we get them produced so cheaply that people can afford them right away? So that's the challenge at the moment. I'm planning to go to India and to China to actually find a. But I think we should further discuss this, because we have an app that is organizing all of this. So this game, what you were talking about is gamification, and put the challenge on the list of what you can resolve together by co-working, collaborating, is something that could be working within this app as well, where the app is made to organize the bikes and connect them, and connect the teams and so forth. So that's the status there. It's in the making, actually. So Jack, I think I have to go. I just had a call from my wife. We were meaning to do something there out in the community. We have to deliver something, so I have to leave. But I think we should connect again. And
So your voice dropped out, but either Heiner or Sam can give you my email, but it's the easiest email for me is just jackpark@gmail.
Oh, Jack Point Park or dot park or
Just Jack Park, one word,
just Park? Okay.
at gmail.com. And
Oh,
then I'll
that's easy.
switch it. And yes, and then I'll switch you to my Topic Quest email once we're talking.
Okay. Okay. I sent you a mail and then we can connect again. Wonderful.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Jack, it
Great
was a
meeting you.
pleasure.
Yes. And thank you to Heiner for connecting us.
Yeah, thank you, Heiner, as well. And Sam, of course. Huh? All the best.
I have a
Bye-bye.
couple
See
of
you
meta
soon.
takes on that, but when you have time.
Okay, yeah, let's maybe Heiner, if you organize another meeting in the next
Well, Heiner actually could tell you that we
coming
do
days.
this every Saturday, every Sunday.
Okay, okay,
Every
okay.
Samstag, every Sonntag, we meet here at this time for 2
Uh-huh.
hours.
Okay,
And
okay.
it's the 4 or 5 of us. Kayla's here. She's been listening. I'm here. Heiner, Jack. Occasionally you would get a fellow named Eric. So typically about 4 to 6 people, maybe fewer,
Mhm.
three sometimes. I'll just give
Okay.
one little teaser for a possible conversation topic for you, Joerg. And that is in all the collaboration that you talk about, my focus is not on the actual collaboration project. My focus is on how the collaboration either works well or does not work well. So that's
Mhm.
what I call collaborology. And out of it has come two lists of things. One called smart people problems. In other words, why people can't collaborate. Another is dumb people problems. And that's obvious. The dumb people problems list is unfortunately much longer than the smart people problems.
I imagine so.
Anyway,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
teaser. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, I know, no, definitely we should talk about it. You're right.
And by the way, when you indicated that you're a filmmaker encouraging the arts, I'm not as much a visual artist. I'm a musician. Kayla is a dancer. She's actually a professional dancer, or has been. So if you have an expansive notion of art, then uh, our interests could be folded in. So just wanted to mention that as well.
Oh, wow. Wonderful. So actually, I will ask Heiner to share this latest project there that this call for action from the an alliance which is called Youth-Led Futures Alliance, and this alliance includes the WHO, for example, and their youth unit, and many more interesting partners already. But we are waiting for more people to come or inviting more people to come on board. So just to make it something that works round the year as a youth empowering and calling up mechanism. And eventually we want to have, we discussed it in Brazil, we want to have $1 million prize or €1 million prize, not dollar. Handed out to some people so that they can actually use money to do more of their work in a better way. So you need it's just in a thought process, but we want to make it visible as possible, as visible as possible. So and raise these questions and. Because we know that young people are capable of working very creatively, the younger the better, actually. We are building on that for the future. That's
Do
it.
you happen to have a connection to Greta Thunberg?
Yes, I do. Yeah,
Excellent.
and I work together with the inventor. So I presented her work in Glasgow at the COP, a film, actually a filmic poem, and I'm working together with Ingmar Renzog, who found her, who took the first picture of her, who has now founded We Don't Have Time, this global climate communication organization, who currently runs a campaign to make science great again. So that's
Okay, I'll just
the
throw in
background there.
one more teaser before you go. I don't yet have enough momentum, but in this particular forum, some of us have discussed a notion called Team Congress. So we have some ideas, but we haven't just made much activity there yet. But perhaps that's another thing that could expand with some collaboration.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, so thank you, Jörg.
Okay, thank you, Heiner.
This is the group where Barry was and where I met Barry through Tammy. Jörg also knows Tammy and some. And just put it into your calendar. I sometimes also drop in and out at the weekends.
Okay, wonderful. So, see you soon and goodbye.
Joerg, you now have the link. This has been the same link now for about 6 or 7 years, maybe
Yes,
longer.
okay. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I have it now. Yeah.
Okay. Ausgezeichnet.
Goodbye. Ausgezeichnet. Wonderful German.
Okay. Kayla, how are you? Are you still there?
I'm good. Thank you.
I don't know if you've ever met Joerg before. He's been here before, not often. Heiner has brought him at least a couple of times that I recall. But this is probably his longest and probably the most number of words that he has contributed to such a forum. All right, Heiner. So with that introduction, did you achieve what you wanted to achieve?
Sure, as I'm not a headhunter, but a spirit hunter and a spirit gatherer. No, I'm happy, and I also have to leave rather soon, or at least put the camera off. But Kayla, we are journeying for you, and also for many other of the GCC group. I think Sam has to do some gardening. Tammy was with us at my birthday, and she moderated for nearly 2 hours, and then Amanda took over. So we always do very large gatherings, and I think we also have to blow up this group. No, not blow up. We have to expand this group. I was muted. It is that I said not only Barry and Tammy, who was with me at my birthday party, but many others from this group have to connect to the other groups, because in these horrible times, we have to stand back to back and hand in hand.
In Europe, do you also believe that we've taken a big step towards World War III?
I'm worried.
It's incredible how low the quality of thinking is in leadership positions around the world. And all I hear in the press is, oh, well, Maduro wasn't a nice man. He was a bad man, you know. So they focus on that silver lining. But people who focus on second order issues without addressing the first order issue, to me, are apologists and vassals of the ruling class.
And it's time for me to leave. Ta-ta.
Okay, Jack. See you next time.
Thanks
Bye,
again,
Jack.
Heiner. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Jack had mentioned something today that is an alternate connection that he and I have that I wasn't previously aware of before. So, have I mentioned to you, Heiner, that I used to work in GIS? Maybe you're not there.
Yes, I was also working in GIS with Jack Dangermond and many others.
I was doing that in the mid to late 80s, all the way into the mid 90s. So it was very, very, I would claim, early work because that was even before Eris or Aram even was known to many people. And there wasn't very much software to deal with that. So we built a lot of that. And we also had to build a lot of those data sets. So anyway, I found that was an interesting aspect of the connection that Jack and I might have had that I didn't previously know about.
Well, you see, we had in Germany Art and Com. It's through a design professor from Kunsthochschule, School of Design, and they created what now is.
Are you still there?
Oh, sure. Sorry, I was muted again. No, we had with Art and Com in Berlin this group coming out of design and design schools to really make something what is now called Google Earth, and all these strange concepts are there and waiting to go from 3D to 9D navigation. And presently I'm working with Gemini 3 on really an overarching issue on all my influences the last 50 years. So it's really exciting, but it's also a distraction. But anyway, challenging.
So if it was Google Earth, it was probably sometime in the last 20 years. The stuff that I was doing was quite a bit before that, turns out.
Well, I did auto troll, printing, desktop design, drafting 81 with Howard Hillman. And they, with Bill Podolska, also founded Prime. And so it's again a little bit earlier. So Jack will probably know some of these names. But for me, with Apollo, it was really a foundational time with Ted Nelson and whoever was there. Anyway, this German professor who just died is Nick Röhricht. And we are just planning his eulogy with his wife. Gisela Kasten is her name. I keep you briefed, and I try to survive with all these demands and challenges. So anyway, I have to mute myself. Excuse me.
Okay, Heiner. So Kayla, was any of that between Jack and Heiner and Joerg? Any of that resonate?
No, it doesn't really resonate with me, but it doesn't mean that it's not fascinating to listen to. I do like Jörg's when he said that he likes working with young people. That's cool.
Yeah, yeah, definitely like that. That's why I brought up, possible. I mean, we had some thoughts. We didn't go very far. I didn't go very far. I didn't go on teen Congress ideas. But then more recently, there's been this other one. So there's two takes now on how we could address education and global connectivity. So that's on me for not having taken it any further.
Yeah. Well, you got your priorities, right?
I got to get these places rented and I got to go somewhere else.
Yeah, I got to get Max's passport. So I have to have that conversation with his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably sometime this month. Yeah.
Good reminder. Okay. So Heiner, I know you were not here yesterday, right? So let me just connect this. Actually, no, before I do that, did you want to check in, Kayla? I don't think you've had a chance to check in yet, or possibly bring up any topics that might be worth exploring.
Not really. I mean, I had a really interesting Facebook comment post thing with some people over at um the executive director of the Ventura Leadership Academy had posted something about Republicans being at fault for, what's going on in Venezuela. And there was a very healthy conversation surrounding that. So one of the women had posted underneath that public post this clip that went to that showcased this Venezuelan guy talking about how the cartel in Venezuela is awful and that there's been foreign occupancy there for a long time now, and people have utilized Venezuela for their resources, and that the reason why the president of Venezuela had wanted to dedicate something to Trump is possibly a strategic move, but it sounded like he was okay with the attacks as a Venezuelan. So the way I interpreted that was, I hope that they don't think, that the president of the United States is doing this for them. And I had written that in the comment. So it was just a really interesting take throughout the whole thing, because of course, being from the United States, our focus is our own politics, right? And so to see it from an outside perspective was really interesting at that. And so, yeah, I feel like with these outside perspectives, it could surely ignite a World War III. On top of that, just the fact that this was, executed illegally really bothers me. And that some people are saying, oh, well, somebody has to do something about the drug problem here. And I'd always known that Venezuela wasn't a manufacturer of fentanyl, or that's at least not their main drug of choice. Their drug of choice is cocaine. And so, anyhow, it's just really strange how people are bamboozled by, what the president emphasizes in terms of the reason why. Because when it comes down to it, it will always be resources. Always, always. Yep. We're always going to be warring for resources. And it's just too bad. So that was on my mind.
It's a good take, that you had that comment about, hey, he's not doing it for you. Was there a reaction to that?
4 people liked it, but nobody said anything. Nobody says anything to my comments, Sam. Nobody says anything. Like, I don't know. Maybe I should engage more with these people. I don't know. Like, honestly, I will always default to the fact that we're fucked because of the way we, just in general, humans in general, have the way we have, conquered other countries over resources, how we've abolished these like cultures that really take care of the planet and really take care of the people, how hatred is trending. And I just, how do you undo all of that stuff? So anyways, my mind kind of goes there, and I look at all sides. I will look at all sides of this. I knew there was another side to it. And so it was really interesting just to see like the perspective of the Venezuelans. I just really hope that they aren't thinking that we're coming here to save them, because we're not. We're coming here to take their resources.
Yep.
Just like everybody else. It's so fucked. So it just, so for me, like all of these arguments are so mindless. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Yes, it's a distraction for the Epstein files, but like, I don't know.
I'll get back to your point, but I wanted to bring up one that sort of slides into that last Epstein comment that you just made. I think that Trump is not just a pedophile. He is not just a child rapist. We've known he has been for years, both. And his supporters have demonstrated for years that they're still okay with that. They don't mind if he's a rapist. They don't mind if he's a child molester, child rapist. I think that what's still hidden in the Epstein files, and it's come out, little bubbles here and there, is that he is also responsible for murder.
No, totally.
He killed the baby, by throwing the baby off the side of his yacht in Lake Michigan. After he had raped the young mother, the child. And there is now less than 1% doubt in my mind that he ordered Epstein's murder. I hadn't previously thought that he had murdered his previous wife, but I'm more inclined to believe that now. I'm very much inclined to think that he is also party to the events that led up to the death of Virginia Giuffre. And there's probably many more. There are too many people who suddenly suicided themselves in the Epstein-Trump circle. And those two were buddy-buddy, They were so close. They're probably inside each other. That's how close they were.
Disgusting. That's a disgusting thought.
I say that deliberately, okay? I mean, that's just a small reference to the fact that, oh, well, he gave Bubba a blowjob, but I'm not sure that's true. And
yeah.
But regardless, I do think that he is very plausibly, and now I think probably, and in more and more as more and more evidence mounts, that he is responsible for other people's deaths. And I think that's what he wants to hide. Now, I don't know if MAGA will still be okay with that. But if they're not okay with that, MAGA has no moral foundation or compass whatsoever.
Yeah.
You could say that, all sins are sins, but I don't know. There's something very, very final about murder.
Well, if I were to look at this as let's solve this problem thing, we definitely need to attack it in several ways. Number one, we need to amplify our voices. So the people who, disagree with what's going on really need to step it up and put pressure on our politicians. Number two, I definitely think that we should start educating our youth, just rewrite our institution and do it fast. Education, just do it non-traditional ways, whatever the youth is into, you know. And I feel like it's happening, but it needs to happen a lot quicker. Another thing is to start shifting the trends in social media. You know, instead of making, what did they say? They said that like hatred or something is gets a lot of views. You know, maybe put other things in the face of that, gradually change the perspective. This is all, by the way, this is like my fix as an individual. And then another thing is to align ourselves with a billionaire who has, if there's even any, who has really good morals and inclinations. That's what my thought would be. Like the billionaires who actually care, again, if there's even such a thing, you know, we really need their help too.
What was the second thing you said? The first thing you said was, I interpreted as a new education curriculum, which I, of course, agree with very strongly. The third thing I heard you say was align with a good billionaire, which I also agree with because that's also in my glide path. What was the second thing you said?
Social media, start shifting the narrative instead of like having anger that sells. You know, let's start flooding our dopamine system with better, like, you know, I don't know if you what you call it scientifically, but just like, you know, start putting the word out there that being a good person is now trending.
Yeah. You know,
Because everybody loves looking at fucking terrible shit. Even myself, I love looking at like these weird
yep,
videos of destruction, but I also love looking at babies.
yep,
Like they're so
and
cute. I love
cats
hearing their voices. Yeah, and dogs and stuff. But
and
we got
dogs.
to start doing that for us as humans. Like, you know, how do you do that? How do you tell people there's really good people out there? There's people who take accountability. There's people who are trying to do well. You know, we got to start shifting our media from, you know, all the awful things to like the good things. And hopefully the good things can fix the awful things. I don't know. That's just like my wild dream.
What comes to mind when you say that is this phrase in Eastern cultures, probably just Asian, but you've probably heard it. It's, you know, saving face. This notion
Saving
that,
face?
yes,
Uh-huh. Yeah, I
this
haven't heard
notion
that in
that
a
you have to sort
while.
of, you know, present your face the way you want the world to see it. And if there's any blemish to it, like, you know, you committed a faux pas or you did something that didn't go across well, you have to save your face. And by that, I sort of broadly rope in this notion of reputation or social impression so that you can be viewed as this perfect person without blemishes and without flaws, because that's the way Asians are supposed to present themselves in society. So I think that Facebook is very aptly named in that sense because people are always trying to put together their best view of themselves so that, you know, people can give them likes and, you know, they can get popular. And I don't know, this very, very appropriate given that saying, saving face. And the reason I give that background is because what you are saying, which I definitely agree with, is there are people living regular lives with good values who are trying to help their neighbors, trying to take care of the environment, you know, just growing their own vegetables or teaching the neighbors' kids or coaching the school team or just, you know, looking out for the neighborhood safety. There are people doing that on a daily basis. The problem is that's not newsworthy,
Yeah,
right?
we need to shape the narrative on the news. I don't
Because
know.
the way
Maybe
the mind works, sorry, and the way attention works is because our minds are fear driven machines.
yes.
So I
Yeah.
think, oh, that's something interesting. Is it going to be a threat? That's the fear driven focus, right? And if it's going to be a threat, oh, now I got to get more of my attention focused on that. And we don't yet have a mechanism because our mind doesn't naturally work that way, right? Especially the untrained mind.
Yeah. So that's something that people with money can throw their investments to also.
Yes, I agree with you. That needs to shift. But I'm just saying this because I think that because of human nature, that shift is extremely difficult.
Yeah, but it's not impossible.
It is not. And I
Quantum
would say,
physics.
actually, well, I don't think it's necessarily the quantum aspect of it. But
Mm-hmm.
what I raise in this conversation is that the Dalai Lama, in my opinion, is correct. That if you teach every third grader, every 8-year-old around the world, if you teach them how to meditate, to regulate their thinking, to watch their thinking, to understand where their thoughts go, and just to watch those thoughts go by, and to know that you are not your thoughts, to know that you are the person watching those thoughts. If every third grader, if every 8-year-old could learn how to do that and then incorporate that into their life, the world would be a different place in less than a generation. He actually said it would take one generation and the world would be a better place. But I think, it'd be even less
That'd be
than that.
amazing.
Yes.
So, yeah, maybe a billionaire can fund all of that shit.
Sam, what you said really resonates with me. Have you heard about Tanya Singer?
No.
She did longitudinal studies in meditation and consciousness research. She's with our Max Planck Institute, and her father was also a very renowned brain and mind researcher.
Mm-hmm.
She has been doing with a couple of hundred people exercises with a control group where one included a perspective unit. So they did with the best meditation people studies that they used different than the other group, also a perspective unit where they, in my cognitive 3D space time panorama, focused on the position, the perspective, and the frame of reference. So to take their own viewpoint out and reflect where it looks in the other dimension, but also with my 3 space-time cognitive panorama, look what it means in the geographic physical world across scales, and also in the semantic worlds of different languages and repositories. And this didn't went that far. They still stayed on the level of the house of eyes, like bird's eye, fish eye, group eye, generational eye, or with the different models from me to the family to the group to the tribe to the nation to the region to the international, that when they did these studies over 1 year, the one group who did include the perspective unit part of the whole, how do you say, basket of meditation processes, they were much more compassionate, perspective, sharing, caring, daring, gifting, I always say. And this I presented in Turku for 24 years children communication camp. I think it was 93, so it was 2007. How this reflection on the positionality and not just perspectivity and relative framing of frames of references, because framing is just a mind and mindset term in psychological and psychiatric environments, really changed a lot. Look in this work we did with the youth in Turku, and maybe we have some time off the record to tell, Kayla is not excluded, to show a little bit what I'm doing with these exercises on who was influential to really make me think as an in-betweener out of the boxes. Anyway, you are hitting the right nail with a hammer, and let's continue that. I have to just listen again.
I think
I
there's
like to
enough
listen.
evidence.
Go ahead.
You're a full participant. I don't know why Heiner made that last remark.
Oh, I don't really understand how it was interpreted, but I was okay with that last remark.
See, I think there's enough evidence that, and I'm going to write this up in some way as a dumb people problem. We've shown that there are too many dumb adults. I think the hope, if there's any, is in the children who have not yet been dumbed down. The future belongs to them anyway.
Yeah.
And I think so, therefore, you're interested in teaching, my interest in trying to make sure that kids learn meditation, that we do something like Teen Congress where they can learn how to design a better society so that they can actually connect with other teen groups and other teen individuals around the world, and learn different cultures. And Joerg's interest in what he's doing, with youth and art, and Heiner's as well. I think that's a proper focus to do it on the future generation. The question is, do we have time? Or will there be too much damage by the time our generations grow up? And will they have enough influence to redirect the direction of the world?
Yeah. Well, in that case, you just have to kind of pivot on hope and trust. One thing before my dad passed away, several months before he passed away, actually, he was just really worried about me. I don't know about you. I'm really worried about you. I'm really worried about your finance and blah, 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 all these things. And I'm like, Dad, why are you worried about that? You're going to pass. It's okay. I'll be fine. We'll figure it out. And I said, not to be rude, but it's the truth. You can't be worried forever. Just enjoy the time that you have and just hope and trust that the strengths of me and my siblings will come through. So I would impart that wisdom that I'd given to my dad to people who worry. I don't know. You just never know until you try it, I suppose. I'm interested in connecting. I think there's value in everybody. Yes, the focus should be on, how we raise our youth. Absolutely. But I do think there is tremendous value in connecting the youth with, tribal elders who have passed down generations of, wisdom to protect the earth, wisdom to collaborate and stuff, things that have almost gone out of existence. That needs to come back. I'm interested in connecting, people who may have differences, but with what you're saying, meditation, calming and regulating your system, with that experience, bringing them together and seeing how we can collaborate well. That's my interest in that.
yeah, I think there's also a reason I was about to say something stupid, but I just stopped myself.
Okay, a part of me, I will admit this, a part of me was very jealous that my dad passed, because a part of me was like, I wish I don't have to be here anymore to witness any of this crap. But then of course my mind goes to my kids, and I've, have the same thought. Like, yeah, I'm worried about them. But when you pass, right? Nobody knows what happens. But you're just, past, right? And the unfortunate part about it is most of the greedy people in the world are just like, fuck it. This is what happens. Like, we do what we need to do for ourselves now. And when we're gone, we're gone. We don't have to worry about any of this shit. There needs to be a shift around that too, because what you do now has like such an impact on the future. It has more of an influence and impact on the future than you know.
Well, when you say that, what I hear is the people who think that way, think that they just have to live life, take what they can get, and, essentially fuck the future, are so obviously selfish, so obviously non-compassionate, non-empathetic, non-caring, that it just appalls me. I couldn't actually, when I was growing up, believe that there's a huge segment of society that is that selfish. I mean, you've heard the term, well, I don't even know what the right way to say it is. It's either, fifth generation thinking or seventh generation thinking, right? That what you do matters to your descendants, five, six, seven, generations
Yeah.
from now.
Yeah.
And it's so
Not
apparent
even
that
five,
people
six,
who
seven
go,
generations.
well,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
even
Sorry.
the next one matters, right?
Yeah. Like, you could see, it's like, if you could only see the impact that you have now, and if you can see that, it's just like, I don't think people would act that way. I think they'd care. And it's around the verbiage too. It's around how we treat like plants, and
Absolutely.
our, like, if you don't treat it as a thing, if you treat it as a collaboration. If I look at my trees, which by the way, they're just going off. I just looked at my kumquat tree and it is loaded.
Awesome.
If I look at that tree and I'm just like, that's like a mom right there, giving back, sprouting little children. Like, if you shift that perspective, then you would think differently about taking trees down. If you think about, like, and even using science as the motivator too, dissecting and taking apart and looking finitely at, the systems of certain trees, then perhaps you can even make that cognitive recognition that they're alive and maybe we shouldn't be destroying, um I don't know, all of that's just shift. I don't articulate as well as you do, Sam.
No, you did a good job. But let me ask
I'm
you a
learning.
question.
Yeah.
I don't, maybe it's my naivete, but I can't believe that the people who are doing such damage to the ecosystem, who are allowing more drilling, who are allowing forests to get, plundered, who are allowing water to get polluted. I cannot believe that the people who are causing this or allowing this are so dumb that they don't understand the impacts to the future. Now, it could be that they are, but I just cannot imagine that they are. So I think that they know and are doing this deliberately,
Well, that's their
dispassionately.
ignorance. Yeah,
Well,
that is their true ignorance. I mean, if you look at some of our world leaders, some of them are just as dumb. I mean, duh. Like, it doesn't matter what the fuck institute you've gone through and stuff. Like, even Obama said it himself. Like, I've been in conferences, Obama said something to the fact that I've been in spaces with leaders who are just like, we don't even know how you got here. To people who you're just like, wow, this is amazing. It's just giving too much power to capitalism, I think. It's kind of like what my son said. That's just like capitalism speaking. So yeah, they are dumb. You can say that.
And I think there's an appeal to capitalism since you bring it up. It appeals to most people because it's simple. Capitalism says you only have to worry about one thing, and that's profit.
Yep.
And that's the simple-minded model that people can grasp. They can't grasp, oh, well, let's balance that versus social benefit, or let's balance that versus health, or let's balance that versus, whatever else you want to think about that are, supposedly obvious human values. But we discard all of that because capitalism says you don't have to worry about any of that. It's irrelevant. The only thing that you need to worry about is profit. And not only profit, it's just next quarter's profit. So don't worry about 20 years from now. Don't worry about 5 years from now. Don't even worry about 2 years from now. Just worry about next quarter. That's all that they measure.
That's why I think that we should attack our problems in a like in a group effort in different ways. I think that's, who said it? Was it Jack or somebody said that's our true superpower is collaboration.
Joerg, I think, was the one who said it today.
Okay.
And I had to smirk when he said that, but go ahead.
Why did you smirk? Tell me.
Because we have shown that we do not know how to do it.
Yeah.
It's our super weakness. We claim we are collaborative. We are not.
I don't know, though. If you think about it, a lot of people's weaknesses are also their superpowers.
I love your enthusiasm and your positivity. I'm hoping that it comes out of seeing that there are good people in the cohorts that you're working with down south.
Yeah. And I love your articulation. I love your articulation to those problems. They are so on point.
Oh, no, I forget what I said.
Welcome to getting old. I'm that way, like, daily.
Articulation of what, by the way?
Problems. I love how you articulate problems really well. Because if I had your ability to articulate so fast, I think I'd probably get people to listen to me, or at least shut the fuck up whenever they try to say something stupid to me.
You'd be disappointed, I think, because of all of these videos where all of this stuff is being discussed, still, we don't get a lot of viewers on the GCC channel in YouTube.
Oh, am I going to have to inject more Botox and dress?
Whatever you can do to help the cause, Kayla.
Am I going to have to swallow everything Jack said and show my face?
What, are you going to take one for the team? Sorry, did I go too far?
What did I say before? It's like a sympathy. No, I'm not going to say that. If I say that, we might have some views, right?
We should spread the transcript.
But I think these calls are fantastic. I think we could probably make it a little better, obviously. But that shouldn't rest entirely on you. It's unfortunate that you've got like me, like single mom here.
What do you mean?
Unfortunately, I would love to help you in like a larger scale, but my focus right now is just trying to make money, dude. I need to
You can't
secure
believe how
my
much you're helping, actually. You help the continuity, you help represent. I mean, unfortunately, we still have simpletons who think, oh, well, there's no woman's voice represented here. And that would be 99,000 times magnified if you were not here. No?
Well, I'm here and yet people are still dismissing the woman. And the reason why I'm laughing is like, fuck it, let's laugh. That's like how ignorant some people are, and that's whatever it is. What it is in time, it'll
Yeah,
change.
that's what we were talking about yesterday too, right?
Yeah, yeah. In time, it's changing. It really is changing. You know, it's not so like all of these things aren't so obvious anymore. You know, men aren't. They're actually shutting up now. You know, because the ones who are left saying these terrible things, they're getting shut down so fast. You see it on social media. That's what I'm talking about, you know? Like that is what I'm talking about. Very articulate, well well represented women and men too are shutting down these terrible men in such a way that's like doesn't include violence. That is what I'm talking about.
I'm glad
You
you're
know,
seeing
and
that.
more men are learning to just stop and go, okay, you know, like more men are kind of acting like how Jack a couple of weeks ago was like, okay, I'll never say that again. Cool. Thank God.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years ago, even, it wouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm actually quite aware that my expressed charter for this particular conversation forum will drive people away. There was a scenario there. In fact, I thanked Jack when he stayed. There was a scenario there when if you actually do surface and identify and discuss um, certain habits or behaviors that you'd prefer to see done better. And I think you brought up that incident, and I think we handled that reasonably well.
Yeah.
There was a chance that Jack would have been, or someone else, not Jack, but someone in his position who had said similar things would have said, "Fuck it, I don't need this. I'm going away. I'm not coming back."
Including myself. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know people have done that, and that's why the expressed charter of this group will cause people to leave. That's what I mean when I say to you, I've driven people away because I want to bring this behavior to light and have people discuss it. And like I was saying about meditation, you are not your thoughts. If you change the thoughts that you think, that's not you. But if you
Yeah.
identify yourself with that thought that you said 2 minutes ago, and that's your identity, then when we call that out, then they think we're attacking their identity.
Yes.
And that's when people say, oh, I don't need this. I'm just getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah. It's
And that's why
uncomfortable.
I know, yes, I know I've driven dozens of people away that way.
Yeah. Change is very uncomfortable. Having the courage to stick around and show face and, you know, possibly get blasted is very
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
And by the way, I'm more than willing to be that myself. You've brought that up as, hey, you're blah, 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 and
Crunchy?
I will take that. No, I
Yeah.
mean, nothing quite so
I'm
complimentary.
just
I can be an asshole, and I've known I've been an asshole, many times here, or at least been perceived as that. I was an asshole to Josh,
well,
and Barry thinks I was an asshole to him multiple times. But one of the things
Hang
I liked
around for
about
the
Barry
Barry.
is he stayed.
Yeah. Yes.
I will
Yeah.
always admire people who stay and engage in those kind of conversations. That's why I have the
Yep.
utmost respect for Barry. I have the utmost respect for you. I have the utmost respect for Jack, having gone through, that conversation we went through a few weeks ago.
Yeah. I like to tell a lot of people this. Like, people just love a comeback. They really do. It's inspiring. It's inspiring to see somebody go through their failures and come back and say I was wrong. You
That's
know?
growth. That's learning. That's being
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
If you're not going to grow, if you're not going to learn, if you're not going to be human, then, just go ahead and die, you know, because you're not growing at that point.
I reached out to like a content creator who likes to oh God, what is that terminology for it? But anyways, what he does is he takes all these terrible people, like these racists or you know, like these awful, terrible people, and he likes to show them, and he likes to dox. He likes to dox them. Okay,
Yes,
likes
I
to
see that.
tell everybody where they live, like where they work, and all that crap, right? But of course,
Hmm.
he's got
Hmm.
some boundaries. He says, don't attack their children, don't attack like people who aren't, involved in what they said.
Yeah.
And I had reached out and I said, I really love your work. I'm glad that you're doing it. But have you ever considered maybe doing like a segment on accountability? Meaning, what if these people are truly like sorry for what they did and they see their growth and they make amends towards it? And over time, have said, like, look, this is what we did. We're really sorry. We didn't realize we came that way. This is our background. This is how we've changed. To me, that is very inspiring. And I think that that would get as equal amount of content, if not more, like likes and views and looks, than the actual doxing itself.
What do you think would
So
happen if we started a YouTube or TikTok or Facebook or X thread on that theme? Because I think it is very, very, very important that we do exactly what you just said.
yeah, I think that would get so much views. I think other content creators would probably catch up and do it too. I think it would make it okay for
Yeah.
people to like fuck up and then okay, even more okay for them to go, look, I screwed up, and I'll tell you why, and then I'll tell you what I did,
Hmm. You
like
know,
to
could we
fix
do it
myself.
together? Here's the question, right? You're still busy, but could we spend some time to do it together? Because I know that if I did this, nobody would watch. Okay. But together, a balanced view, especially, with male, female, and, you know, I think that would be a much more, look, you remember how Google produced Notebook LM, and you can turn something into a podcast, but that podcast has two voices, right? It has a male voice and a female voice.
Uh-huh.
There's probably a reason Google didn't do it as a single voice. And I think that as a format, especially an interview format, where let's say you and I decided to just do an open call, say, hey, if you've done the following, if you've done something that you later regretted but you learned from, and here's how it changed your life, and here's the impact you're making now, that would be something that almost everybody in the well, so no, probably half the people in the world would say, yeah, I've done that. That's happened to me. I want to be featured. I want to be on this interview channel. I think we could
Yeah.
get a lot of people that would come forth.
Yeah.
And we could do
Yeah.
either 3-minute form, 5-minute form, 10-minute form, 18-minute form, whatever. Okay. But let's
Yeah.
find a sweet spot that is not too taxing, not too deep, not too boring, but deep enough that people can actually learn from it.
Yeah.
And here's my zinger to it is that we would bring, hopefully, the same practices we have or express practices that we have here, which is We're going to call people on their bullshit, but in a gentle way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, hey, we saw you on so and so's thing, like
Yes.
saying X, Y, and Z. Then we saw the
Yeah.
apology, but so and so didn't think that you that it was genuine, but you're saying it's
Exactly.
genuine.
There
So
you go.
talk. Yeah.
Or we heard the words, but where's the change in behavior?
Yeah. Exactly. And where did it come from? That's important
Yeah,
too.
exactly. How
Yeah.
did you get the motivation to do the turnaround? Was it a
Yeah.
friend? Was it a book? Was it a movie? Was it personal reflection? Was it the Bible? Oh, geez, I would say the Bible is probably going to be a small percentage of that. I would hope that it's larger, but I don't believe it.
I know. Oh my God. I finished watching Jodie Hildebrandt documentary. Oh my God, so scary. But anyways, I don't want to digress from this.
I don't know who that is.
Mormon. She was a Mormon therapist who aided and abetted the abuse of this influencer and her 8 kids or her 6 kids. And yeah, Mormon community, all in the name of God. Anyways, we can talk about that another. I like this.
I think
I
we're onto
really do.
something though. The question is, can we design it? Can we actually do it, quickly enough that we're okay with learning as we go? I'll tell you one of my problems is I don't do a good job learning as I go because I keep thinking I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready. And therefore I don't start anything. So that I understand is a personality flaw in me. But you're much more organized. You manage checklists way better than I do.
My whole thing is my time. That's the only thing. It's like
I know.
there's
That's
a
why I
lot of
said,
things that I have no problem jumping off of a waterfall.
mm-hmm,
Do I have the time to hike 2, 3 hours, several miles? Like now, not so much.
mm-hmm,
But what we could do is we could ask somebody too who is in that influencer world or stepping into it. I know somebody who is
mm-hmm,
stepping into it. I'll just like
mm-hmm,
I'll ask her questions,
mm-hmm.
and then seeing where that goes. Like
You know what I would
starting
love
from
to do?
there. Yeah, tell me.
I'd like to just, after you and I kick this around a bit and create like 1 or 2 paragraphs for what we want to do, I'd like to send a small request to Simon Sinek or Steve Bartlett or, any of the really, really I consider well respected people who've actually done very, very well interviewing people, becoming renowned for their blogs, their channel, their values are well represented. I would like to ask them for their advice on how we kick this off and possibly a little support.
Yeah, yeah. You should do the ask.
And that also connects me back to something you said earlier, which was we need to connect with good billionaires.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it
Absolutely.
that when you say good billionaires, the only people I think of are women?
Because women are the shit.
Bezos's ex-wife,
Yeah.
Gates's ex-wife, because all these men are going around there doing man things. Oh, I got to
Yeah.
get more money. Oh, I got to exert more influence. Oh, I got to be way more rich. All this shit that doesn't represent what we're looking for.
Yeah.
When I read Virginia Giuffre's book, I was a little bit surprised because it was even more clear that it was Gates's connection with Epstein that compelled his wife to divorce him, or at least a huge part of it. So there's more there going on than I had thought. So I think this is a good idea. My problem is we do come up with good ideas in this forum, not many, but a few. but I have trouble getting momentum behind it. So I know,
Yeah.
for example, that I need to collaborate with somebody. That's where I could be most effective.
Yeah.
Remember the
Yeah.
model I told you about, the two in a box model?
Yeah.
I love that model. That's what I was most professionally effective in my entire career. I gotta tell you,
Yeah.
that was an awesome experience. I'm constantly looking for that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the one that makes the most sense.
Anyway, that's an invitation for you to consider. And if you like, we can take steps towards it. I
Yeah.
think it would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. We just have to take the steps. And I'm saying this more for myself than anything. And it's got to be a little bit more like tangible, you
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
meaning, I don't know, maybe we reduce one of these calls to like an hour. And so the second hour would be us like talking about this or you know, at least for the next couple of weeks or months.
Well,
Um,
let's spend at least one more session fleshing out the idea.
yeah,
Let's write out some bullet points, and then let's write up a little call to participate. To someone who says, "Hey, would you like to be interviewed for the following reason?" And give them one or two paragraphs, and then exactly as you say, we could do it on one of these calls, or if the person had different time requirements, we could do something separate. Because you're already making yourself available mostly, for this time slot. So am I.
yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. That's why I was thinking if we reduced one of these calls to like an hour and then you and I can flush out the
Exactly.
details of the other
Exactly.
hour. Yeah.
Exactly. We could even reach out to this immediate community first and say, hey, do any of you want to undergo this? Be a beta test for our format, and they could help launch this channel. Somebody
Yeah.
like Heiner, somebody like Harry, somebody like Tammy, somebody like Doug, somebody like maybe Stacy.
Right. Right.
I think this would be pretty interesting. Yeah, we could actually even bring in some of your cohort in Southern California because you.
Well, the funny thing
Go
is
ahead.
I invited the executive director to one of our meetings to
Hmm.
just implicitly discuss, you know, politics. I had wanted more of like a discussion of global politics since
Hmm.
Heiner is in here and, we have
Hmm.
one or two people popping in from another country.
Yep.
It would be really nice to, have some leaders talk.
Yep. And that person's name is
Her name is Patty.
okay. And
Patty
is Patty
Brown.
going to seriously consider this?
I don't know. I just emailed her and because she asks really good questions and she says really good things. I like the way she frames it. She is one-sided, but the way she frames it, it doesn't like any of her political comments. They're kind of done with curiosity and then of course, with her opinion.
Hmm.
Um, so I love the way she frames it. She doesn't really, call people stupid or anything. And then she's also, if somebody starts trolling on her posts, then she'll remove them and call them out and say, I respect your opinions, but don't go trolling. And I love that. I think people should do that more. I don't think it's a good idea to have like any public forum be like just a place where you throw up,
Yeah.
like where trollers throw up. So
Hmm.
hopefully she'll bite one of these days, and then we have to force Heiner to come.
Well, here comes my constant invitation, Kayla. Give me your phone number.
Then she'll kick me out of the Ventura County.
You associate with this guy?
Little Shiva. What are you doing? Why are you giving everybody my phone number? Oh my God. Well, my CFO just emailed me. We have a good sponsorship for our
Awesome.
event. Oh, Thank God.
Wait, this is still United Paris, or this is some
Yeah,
other thing?
yeah. I
Okay, all
still,
right.
even though I'm looking for another job, I still want to like do well. I still want
Sure,
to
of
do my
course.
best. I don't want to leave the organization. The organization's helped me a lot, and I don't want to leave them,
Right.
high and dry. I want to make sure that I do my best until the last day
Yep.
I'm employed. So, you know, I don't know. Maybe it'll turn into a renegotiation, but I don't think they could afford what I'm asking for.
Well, maybe Melissa will think about what she loses if you leave, and she'll have to consider, the pros and
Reorganizing,
cons and the
restructuring.
ROI. Exactly.
I mean, like, okay, this is what needs to happen.
Mhm.
Nah, it's cool. I kind of want to get out of the mental health space too, to be very honest. It's really difficult, you know.
And funding for that whole area seems to be dwindling.
Yeah, it's terrible. It really is. I mean, they're now that the more I think about it, the more I realize like it might be a good idea, obviously, to like focus on housing and homelessness because the homeless population here in Southern California is awful, you
Mhm.
know. And especially with this rain, I can't imagine. I can't imagine the homeless population in Washington right now. You guys are a lot colder than we are.
Yep.
And so, that shift I think is good. It's just not good for our organization. So, and I want to take a step back from like ghetto ass parents. Like, I'm sorry. Like, part of me is very biased. Like, I get it. Everybody's human. I've gone through some bad parenting episodes, but it's like we see a lot of crazy shit. Like, why would you do that to your children? You know? Um, so there's that. Sometimes you just need to take a step back and not be involved with something so heavy.
Mhm. So, what is the time frame by which you could possibly hear from this new org?
Well, I do my presentation on the 14th, and then I'm sure they'll make their decision immediately after.
Wow, that
So,
seems quite a long time after your submission of what they asked for. Uh,
they've got I don't know how many. I know it looks bad. It looks like they could use like my material, but I have a feeling they won't. It's just like they have to get the executive director, the marketing director, and the associate director, plus a board member are all going to be a part of this presentation. So,
mhm.
gathering those um, gathering their schedules is probably very difficult to do. And so I had given her, well, she had given me 2 week options. And I responded to each and every one of those days, knowing that she has to put all of these people together.
Mhm.
So 2 weeks actually isn't very, when you look at everybody's schedule, especially during the new
Mhm.
year, it's actually
Mhm.
quite soon. So
Okay. All right.
that's the way I see it.
Mhm.
Trust me, I want it to be sooner because I want to get paid sooner if I get the job. Because I did another deep dive into my finances and I might have to cut certain things that I kind of don't want to, but I kind of have to.
I was just going off my impressions of how complicated the organization was likely to be given the budget.
Oh, really?
It seems like you
How
got a
so?
lot of people involved for an organization that's only about a $2 million budget or 1.3 at the moment.
Yeah. Well, they want to segue into the LA 28 because the Olympics and Paralympics, and that's their whole thing, the Paralympics. So I think they're being very intentional about their success with lining up with the LA 28.
Okay. Also, if LA 28 doesn't happen, are they like
What are
doomed?
they going to do?
Yeah.
I don't know if they're doomed, but it's gonna suck.
Yeah, there's a
I
lot of
don't.
countries pulling out because of the way the US is behaving these days
Oh yeah,
of
that's
lots of
right.
different
Fuck.
events, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we did have Olympics in Korea. So, wasn't there Olympics in Germany too under Hitler at
Yeah,
some
that's where a
point?
bunch of people got assassinated. Um,
Oh,
and the Israelis had to go and free some prisoners.
yeah. I think that's a good thing to consider.
Yeah, it might be good. Yeah, you don't have to spend a lot of time on it, but if you bring it up, they would get the sense that you're thinking strategically.
Oh, hell yeah. Thank you for bringing it up.
Again, it's
Should
free
I
consultation.
should I say that during my presentation? By the way, as a one-off, are you guys worried about the state of the politics regarding LA
Yeah,
28?
yeah, do it at some appropriate point. I
Yeah,
wouldn't put
yeah,
it in the
probably towards the
slides, but
end.
yeah,
Hell
just
no.
just kind of a recap, and all the way. By the way, you notice that there's a chance that countries could be pulling out because of our current U.S. behavior, and so if you'd like, I could look into that for you as well. So you could make some comment like that, and if nobody else makes a comment like that, that would make you unique.
Hell yeah, I am unique too.
There you go.
Oh my gosh. Oh, well, there's also other avenues too for me to get additional income. I've got
Hmm.
two interviews this week too, and one of them is additional income.
Hmm.
So,
Well, I'm just asking, questions from a distance. They don't have to be well founded. They're just idle
oh,
questions.
totally. No, no, no. I'm glad. Just please. I like those questions. I don't get offended because half the time I don't know what I'm doing.
At least you're honest. Most of the time, most of us don't know what we're doing.
Yeah,
The people that say they do, I think they're just pretending and it's bravado.
totally.
Because even if they're rich, do we really know that, they're happy
Yeah,
or at
exactly.
least, leading a meaningful life? Maybe
Right,
they don't care. Maybe money is all they want.
right.
In which case, when they die, they'll be forgotten.
Hmm.
At some point, and I know we're past the 2 hour mark, at some point, I'd like to talk to you about a woman named Tanya Kazal. I think I've sent her video to you at least once or twice,
Yeah, I'll
but
have to
that's a
look
teaser.
again. Yeah,
Okay.
sounds good.
Or is Max up already?
He probably is, but he's probably doom scrolling.
Okay.
Yeah, I just I was late because I was asking his agency their advice or basically questions, just saying that he's going heavily into competition. So he's going to have to be booked out for the entire month of January. Is that something that they even do? Is it okay? Like, what do you guys, because I don't want to pay for new headshots, if
Mhm.
he's going to be booked out for some time.
Yeah.
So, but he has agreed to grudgingly stay in the industry as long as it's under his terms, which I will honor. But I do think that it would be really good for him.
Hmm.
He's been in I cleaned out some of my files and I found his old headshots when he was 3 years old. And
Hmm.
I was like, look, you've been in the industry since you were 3. You might as well just stick around, even if it's just to self submit.
Well,
Who
even if
knows?
he's not really going forth to auditions, he's still collecting royalties on some of those past gigs, right?
No, but he has a possibility to connect and collect with a current gig he's at. They're filming the final episode this month, and it's a pilot. It's like a pilot television show showcasing Filipino Americans.
Nice.
Yeah, so there's that opportunity. All right. Well, I am going to continue to clean and do laundry and wonder if I should. No, I'm not going to cook. I
I'm
think we're
staring
gonna.
at a laundry basket myself.
I've got some Uber gift cards, Uber Eat gift cards. So I think I'm going to use that today.
Hey, you know, I don't know if it got canceled, but I don't think it is. I as part of American Express, I have like $10 or $15 a month of Uber credits that I don't ever use because I live so remote. Uber doesn't ever come out here. Maybe I should just, give those coupons to you because I never use them.
Yeah. Hey, that'll be
Not
fantastic.
much, but hey, it's better than letting them go to waste.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Oh my gosh.
I'll see if that's possible. Or,
Please.
once in a while, maybe I'll just send you a burger.
There you go.
All right. Hey, this is fun. This is a good session. I have some ideas
Yeah.
and some follow-up that hopefully you and I can collaborate on.
Hey, you should AI this. Your meeting analytics. Let me know what AI says.
Good idea.
It's gonna be
Okay.
like, Kayla is the shit.
Right.
She has
And Sam is not
fantastic
crunchy.
ideas.
You're the antithesis of crunchy.
Crunchy. That's funny.
Oh, well, I'm still learning stuff. Okay, Kayla. Talk to you next time.
Okie dokie.
Have a good day.
You too.
Later. Bye.
Bye.